Hey everybody, it's Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. How are you guys? I'm excited to be with you today. We are going to be making a really fun card, and I hope that you will enjoy watch me put it together for you. I am also using the Boughs and Blossoms bundle again. We're going to be using the punch today, and this lovely stamp set. We are also using the Layering Circles dies, which I know I talk about them all the time, so you probably guys are sick of them, but I use these almost on every card. I love them so much. So definitely check these out in my online store. The link will be in the description below. So we're definitely going to see that one in action. And of course, these beautiful rhinestone basic jewels, we're going to be using those today, but not till the end. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to grab a baby wipe because I might need that for messes that I may make. You know, I'm not always the cleanest stamper, but we will try. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Let me move this stuff out of the way. We will need the punch, so I'm going to just slide that over to the side here. And as you can see on this card, we're going to need one of those. So let's just go ahead and get that started. We're going to open this up and we're going to use this one here. We don't need this top sprig for this card. And I have already punched one to make this card, so I saved my scrap here. And I'm going to enter this one to this side here. I'm going to just punch that out. And there is our piece that we will need. Now I have cut out a couple of the flowers so far. So let's go ahead and make room for those. And we're just going to do a little bit of stamping here. We're going to get everything together and then we'll put our card together. So we're going to stamp these two flowers here, and they're going to be stamped in our pale papaya. So I'll grab that ink pad, ink that up, and we'll put those onto these scrap pieces of paper. I do use scrap paper when I am stamping. I try and use it up so that I don't have all these piles of scraps everywhere. So I'm actually gonna try again. I got a little close to that edge there, so I'm gonna move it in a little. All right, there we go, that's better. All right, so we have our two, I'm actually gonna restamp this one as well. Happy that there's two sides to every sheet of paper, huh? Okay, so those are already fussy cut out, so I'm gonna fussy cut these, and I have already die cut our circle. So let's pull the dies out, and it is this one here, which is the second largest of the smooth circles. Let's clean our stamp. All right. We're going to be using basic gray for our words, so we'll have that ready here. And Pool Party was the color that I used for this green right here. I did have it out to show you, so definitely check out Pool Party because it works out super awesome. And let's go ahead and fussy cut out our flowers. So I like to leave a little border. For those of you who have watched me, you know that I like to leave a little border around my images when I cut them out. Only if I do masking do I cut usually along the edge. I just like the white border. Now, some people like it and some don't. If you don't like it, you can cut along the edge and eliminate the white. But I think that it draws your eye in to the color on the inside and makes you look like you can cut. So I like to leave that white border. And I'm not perfect at it, but the more that you do fussy cut things, the better you get at actually doing it, just like anything else. The more you cook, the better you get at cooking. The more you sew, the better you get at sewing. Same thing. The more you fussy cut, the better you get at fussy cutting. The tip that I do have for those of you who have never seen me fussy cut is that you keep your scissors straight. I'm right-handed, so I'm holding with my right hand, and as you can see with my left hand, I'm pivoting the paper. That's the hand that I am actually moving. I do move my scissor when I run out of blade. I will slide it down like I just did there, but I like to move the paper with my left hand. And then when I run out of blade, I just slide my blade down. But my left hand guides the paper, it turns it, it pivots it, and my scissor kind of just stays in a very slow cutting motion. That's the best way that I could describe it to you. But it doesn't take too long. This stamp set is fairly easy to fussy cut out, so I don't mind it that it doesn't have a stamp set. I rather like the stamp sets that have punches, so I'm kind of akin to those. All right, so let's go ahead and assemble our little circle here. So I want a sprig sticking out like this. I'm going to be using my dimensionals and mini dimensionals for this. So I'm pulling those out. So I want a sprig sticking out like that, and then I want this one like so. So I'm going to use one of my large dimensionals, and I am going to secure them to the circle like that. These are, this is just kind of how I go about doing what I'm doing. I want this to be about there maybe. So let me secure it with another dimensional. And then we have our two flowers. So one of the flowers is going to be low, so we have to make sure that it gets covered here, but I'm going to give it a dimensional right on this petal here. Remember, I did stamp them twice, so I'm going to give it a dimensional there so that it has something to lay on. And I'm going to give it a mini dimensional in this bottom corner because I think it's going to need some support there. So let's go ahead and lay it on there and make sure before we pull any backs off. Yeah, that gives it nice support. Now this flower is going to be tucked in over here, and you can see that I intertwine them like that. So this one's definitely going to need dimensionals on the back. So I'm going to put one on this petal and one on the bottom. This flower here is the one that's going to be sticking out beyond the circle. So I want to put a dimensional, but I don't want to put it too far out. And then on this side, it's going to be layered over the top. So I'm just going to give it a mini dimensional like that. And let's lay it and see if it fits. Yeah, that looks perfect. So that's all the dimensionals we need. That's how I go about figuring out how to lay these out. So once I know what I'm doing, I'm going to pull these two flowers off. Let's go ahead and pull the backs off of these first. We're going to use our take your pick tool and pull the backs off. Those are sticking out. And let's start with our main flower. It has just two dimensionals on the back because it has the support of those ones that are stuck down. Sorry. It has the support of those ones that are stuck down on here. So we're going to lay it down first. Okay, so it's going to cover those two dimensionals. And it's also going to give some lift right here. And then this one with the 4 is the one that is tucked in that little crease. I want to make sure it's moved over correctly. Make sure. Hang on a second. I have to lift it for a slight minute. Come on. There we go. I think I shifted it. I angled it wrong. There we go. Much better now. And now this one's going to be tucked in, so we have to lift that, tuck it in there. And there's, whoops. Uh-oh. I pulled this one up. Let's grab a mini dimensional and stick it back down. So I will go ahead and put it on the tip there and pull the back off with my nail. I'll leave it here for a minute, pick it up with this so that I can hold on to it. This one's going to get tucked wherever there's room. So I'm just going to lift up there. I just don't want the dimensional to show. There we go. Perfect. All right. So now we have our centerpiece that's going to go. Let me explain how this card works. So it is a piece of 8.5 by 4.25 inch cardstock. So we're going to score it in 2 places. So let me grab my Simply Scored tool. And down this long side here, we're going to score it in 2 places. We're going to score it at 3 inches and at 4.5 inches. Let me hold it up. It's kind of hard to see on light colors, but here's the 3-inch and the 4.5-inch score marks. Now this is what's going to form our tag top, this top section. And I just cut off on a scrap piece of cardstock that I had, just lopped off a straight edge. And I'm going to use that right here, hold it along both sides, line it up, and I'm just going to bring my scissors in, and I'm just going to go right along that edge and trim that edge. That's going to be the one tag. And then I'm going to flip it to the opposite side, hold it against that edge, and do the same thing. So that's how we get our tag end. I'm going to put these to the side. I'm going to throw them away in a minute. But we're going to go ahead and do the scoring. We're going to burnish. We're going to score this one down. And then this one back. And that's what forms our card here, okay? Now you can see that I have pattern paper, designer series paper on all of these, and this is from the hand-penned designer series paper. This is what the other side looks like, and I wanted this subtle polka dot. So I'm going to figure out how this is going to lay on here, and I'm going to use the same piece again, only this time I'm going to do it to the designer series paper. I'm going to use the same scrap that I cut that end off here. We're going to trim that one. We'll put it with this one, flip it over like we did with the first. And we'll go ahead and cut this end off, just like that. Okay, so then those can go in the trash, and I'll save this to use another time on another card. Now that's going to be adhered there. This one's going to be adhered at the bottom. And then this one is going to be adhered in the center section. I'll give you the dimensions of all the designer series paper. All right, so the top one, which is the largest piece, is 4 by 3 3/4 inch. Oops, and I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal to adhere these pieces of designer series paper to our cardstock. I'm going to leave an edge all the way around. So there's our tag piece. Now let's do the center section. This center section is 4 inches by 1 1/4 inches of designer series paper. So this one's going to go in this middle section right here. And just make sure that it is even on all 4 sides before you stick it down. And then this bottom section is 4 by 2 3/4 inch. So let's go ahead and adhere it down. Now my flowers, you know, that I fussy cut out, those were just scraps of basic white cardstock that I had sitting around. But this piece of basic white that's going to be layered right here, and it's going to be stamped with the sentiment, "It's been too long," is 1 inch by 3 3/4 inch. And that's going to get stamped on this bottom corner. We're going to use basic gray. Get my right stamp here. It's been too long. There's 3 sentiments in this bundle. One of them says "It's been too long," one of them says "Thank you," and one of them says "A little hello." All right, let me bring this down here where I can see what I'm doing. I'm gonna definitely make sure I'm inked up and that this is in this bottom section. It says "It's been too long." That looks awesome. I love the basic gray because it's not quite as stark as black, and when I use pastels like these, I like to use basic gray for my words. I think that it still looks good, but it's just softer, just slightly softer than that Memento black ink. All right, let's go ahead and attach this piece onto that center section. All right. We're also going to stamp the words "a little hello" it's going to be up above here. But before I stamp that, I wanted to position my circle on here, and then we will stamp this in the basic gray. That's going to be the last thing that we stamp. All right, so as you can see here, we want to lay them side by side to help us. This piece is going to be positioned like so. Now, we do not want any dimensionals on this section so that it sticks here, because we want it to be able to be opened and closed easily. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it in place. Now that I've positioned it where I want it, maybe turn it a little bit this way. Okay, once I'm happy with the placement, I'm going to hold it in place and I'm going to drop this bottom section. Just like that. Now I can put my dimensionals on the back of my circle. I'm going to use regular size dimensionals. We're going to put some down here around the circular section here. We'll put one up here. I'm going to put one more in the middle here, just like that. So let's go ahead and pull the backs off, and I'm still holding it. As you can see, I haven't moved the circle because I would definitely want it positioned where I have set it up. I'm going to hold that, and then I'm going to slide my fingers underneath, which will help to still hold that circle in place. And I'm just going to press this gently. That puts the circle where I want it, and then I can close it. Now that I know where my piece is going to end up, I can go ahead and stamp my words "a little hello" right here on the top. Again with our basic gray. I'm going to slide this down so I can see what I'm doing, and I'm going to stamp that right here above my layering circle. That looks good to me. Let's go ahead and clean the stamp. The last thing that we're going to do is we're going to add our rhinestones, and then of course we have to put our ribbon at the top to make it look like the perfect tag, right? So we're just going to use a handheld punch. I'm just going to punch a circle here in the top with a handheld circle punch. And then I'm going to take my ribbon, and I believe that this is about 7 inches or so of ribbon. Let me double check. I think it's actually 8 inches of ribbon. Nope, 7.5. I was close. So we're going to go ahead and fold it in half. I'm going to take this folded section and I'm going to insert it from the front to the back. And then I'm going to open that loop that I have inserted, okay? I'm going to take the tail ends of my ribbon and I'm going to slide them through that loop, and then I'm going to slowly pull on that until it grabs. And then those ends that are sticking up like they are right here, I'm just going to get them positioned so that they're not twisted or rattled. And then we're going to go ahead and trim those off with our ribbon scissors. So let me grab my paper snips with the ribbon. These with this little dangle. They'll sometimes get in the way, but definitely shows me that these are my ribbon scissors. We're going to trim these ends. I'm going to play with those so that they don't quite stick out so much. Let's see if I can make that a thing. There we go. I just want it to be a subtle piece. And then we're going to add our rhinestones. So let's go ahead and grab those. I'm going to grab my take your pick tool. We're going to take a large rhinestone. We're going to deposit it onto right here on the circle, one of the larger ones from the bottom. And then we're going to put a small one near it, but off like that. And then we're going to add another small one down here in this section, right there. Just going to stick my bone folder and just burnish this a little bit so it sticks down a little easier, not quite so lifted. Also, I'm going to turn it this way. And I'm going to try and burnish this one as well. All right, there we go. That's a little better. All right, so that is our card. I think it turned out super. I'm very pleased with it, and I hope that you are too. It's always fun to do a different kind of card, and on my blog today, it's DSP Monday, so I always show a different designer series paper, or, you know, just a different piece of designer series paper on a card. And so today I've chosen the hand pen. It is a beautiful pack of papers, so if you're interested in it, definitely check it out at my online store. I will link it in the description below. And I appreciate you watching me. Definitely check out my other videos. There'll be 4 other videos in this series. You can check it on a playlist as well if you want, under Boughs and Blossoms. But I hope that you will enjoy the rest of the videos that I use with this stamp set. And I do blog 7 days a week, so check out my blog at inkyhandswarmhearts.com. Thank you for watching. Subscribe so that you get notifications. Give me a thumbs up. And if you have any questions, or if you just want to tell me that you enjoyed the video, I would appreciate that if you do that in the comments. So thank you so much for watching. This is Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. Happy stamping!